let's just look at the question. So if you're a visual person, 1 heart equals 3 stars. Looks like this. 1 heart equals 1, 2, and 3 stars. So 2 hearts would be 1 and 2. And so each heart is equivalent to 3 stars. So this heart is equivalent to 3 stars. And this heart is equivalent to 3 stars. Right? So in total, 2 hearts is equivalent to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stars. So we know that the answer is 6 stars. So you might have been able to do this in your head. You might just be like, duh, decaf, just multiply by 2, which is true. In this case, the way that the ratio works, it's each heart is equivalent to 3 stars. So 2 hearts means each. So each one is equivalent to groups of 3. So for 2 groups of 3, you have 2 times 3, which is 6. 4 hearts would be 4 groups of 3, which is 12 stars. So you could just think of it as basic multiplication here. So, I mean, I guess I'll take that opportunity to emphasize each being one of those multiplication words for word problems and stuff. But here, it just turns out that this particular ratio is 1 to something, right? A ratio of 1 to 3. So, yes, you could have done this one in your head. You could have just said, oh, immediately 1 to 3 is equal to 2 to 6. But we are going to formalize this a little more. And I'm going to show you 2 methods of actually solving the same question. We know that the answer is 6 now, but we're going to try and break this down into 2 more specific and generalized methods so that it doesn't have to look specifically like this. It could be like 3 hearts equals 7 stars, for instance. So, again, we're going to go back to the original question. 2 hearts equals how many stars? Or convert 2 hearts to stars. And what we're going to do for method 1 is to just use fractions only. So method 1 is going to work with fractions, and method 2 is going to work with proportions and with a little bit of algebra. Okay? So, first method, and this is probably the more common one, and it's also how you generally do this in chemistry and other subjects too, where you have to convert units. So you'll start with what you're given. So I'm given 2 hearts. Okay, that's what I'm starting with, and I want to convert 2 stars, or convert to stars, not 2, but like just convert hearts to stars. So I'm starting with 2 hearts. I'm going to put this over 1, and I'll explain that in a second. And I'm going to multiply by another fraction. And the way I want to do this is I'm going to use the conversion rate that I'm given, in this case 1 heart and 3 stars. And so the question is, do I put 1 heart and 3 stars like this, or do I put 3 stars over 1 heart like this? And so the way I'm going to think about this is that when I multiply these fractions, I want to be able to cross cancel the heart unit. You're not technically able to just treat heart like the actual unit name is not exactly a value that you can cross cancel, but you can think of it like that, and it's okay to just show your work that way. So if I'm cross canceling, that means that the heart is up here in the top, the numerator. So when I cross cancel, I want the heart to be on the denominator. So this way I can't cross cancel them. I need it to be on top and bottom. So I'm actually going to do the 3 stars over 1 heart. And that's all this is about. It's about creating a ratio, which is nothing more than a fraction. And I want to keep them in such a way that these 2 units cross cancel. So even if it were, dx, but you're not exactly canceling dx, but you can kind of think of it that way when you're chaining things together. But you could think of it as like 2 times 1 hard or 1 times 1 hard. It doesn't matter. You can basically show it like this, and this is what you often do in chemistry as well. But you basically just cancel them and then you multiply as usual. So you multiply across the numerator and across the denominator. So 2 times 3 is 6 over, and then 1 times 1 is just 1, and you still have a star, so it's just 6 stars. So that's how we got 6 stars. So I put the 1 down here because it doesn't change the value. Anything divided by 1 is itself, but this makes it clear when you're working with fractions. If you're fine not putting a 1, that's totally okay. You could just do this if you wanted to. I just think that it makes it easier to, remember that this goes in the numerator, so you're multiplying across. If you happen to be writing quickly, it's easy to kind of forget and kind of put it into the denominator or something, so I like to put the 1. So that's what this one is for. But do it however you are comfortable. The concept and the math behind this is, first of all, the idea of cross canceling. And this is the same kind of cross canceling as like if you had a 4 up here and somehow a 6 down here. You can cross cancel a common factor of 2. So you could have 3 and a 2. Okay, similar. You're just cross canceling the hard unit. And why this actually works is because this 3 star over 1 hard part is actually 1. Anything multiplied by 1 is itself, so you're just multiplying by 1. And you can actually chain this along. Anything that's times 1 times 1 times 1 is fine. It's the same value, it just looks different. And it's 1 because it says 1 hard equals 3 stars. So 3 and 1 are different numbers, of course, but that's why the units are important, because this says that 3 stars is 1 heart. They are one and the same. So anytime I see 1 heart here, I have 3 stars. So 3 stars over 3 stars is 1. So if I'm multiplying this thing by 1, whatever I get is still equivalent to the original 2 hearts that I'm trying to convert. And it just so happens here that that's 6 stars. So 2 hearts is equivalent to 6 stars. They are the same. And so, of course, if you are comfortable with fractions, you might see that just 1/3 equals 2/6. I just multiply both sides by 2, or the top and the bottom of a fraction by 2. And that is very astute of you to notice, but that's basically all we're doing. But the reason I wanted to generalize this method, like use this concept, is because you don't have to memorize whether you multiply by 3 or divide by 3. You don't have to necessarily convert this into a 1 to something ratio either. You could have like 7 hearts equals 9 stars and just put 9 stars and 7 hearts and trust the math. You would get 14 over 9 stars, and you can simplify from there. So that's why I wanted to show you this little method here. Is just when you're given a ratio, however that's given, whether it's between the standard or metric system or within one of the systems, like you could easily replace this with 1 yard equals 3 feet, right? So it doesn't matter what you're using, tablespoons, teaspoons, whatever. You can just follow this method in general. So that's why I wanted to point out this side note here, I am assuming that hearts and stars are not just discrete units here, that we are allowing fractions and decimals of each of these units, just like you would for instance, yards and feet. Like there's such a thing as 0.125 yards, right? You don't have to have only whole numbers, and just because we're building intuition with these shapes, I'm just gonna assume the same thing. Okay, so I hope that first method makes sense. Start with the value that you're given, then multiply and create a ratio of fraction given whatever conversion exchange rate you have, whether in the problem or the back of your book or wherever, or you can look it up. Write that in that way, and then trust the math from there. Okay. Now the other way involves a little bit of algebra. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to set this as x, my unknown value, and I'm going to actually make this proportion. So I'm going to say 1 heart is to 3 stars, as 2 hearts is to how many x stars. Okay. In this case, I have an equal sign. I'm making an equation here, and I'm solving for x. Now here, you might notice I have hearts and stars, and that's what I want for proportions. I want hearts to stars, and so I want equivalent fractions here, and that's why there's no cross-canceling. But in order to solve this, you can use whichever trick you want. X is not 0 here, so you have no problems there. But one easy way to do this with algebra is to cross-multiply. Cross-multiplication has to do with equations like this with fractions. Cross-canceling has to do with just fractions, okay? So here for cross-multiplying, I'm going to do x times 1 is x, and that equals 2 times 3 here. So x equals 6. You don't have to worry about units here, because going this way you have heart star, and going this way you also have heart star, so they kind of cancel out. So x equals 6 as expected, because x is the number of stars. So indeed 6 stars, okay? And you can set this ratio again also however it's given. So if we have 3 to 7, you just do the same thing. Trust the math here and do the same kind of cross multiplying. So 3x equals 7 times 2 is 14, and then here you have one equation with one variable, so you divide by 3 and x equals 14 over 3. That part doesn't really matter right now, but I'm just trying to show you an example that you are just making equivalent fractions here. So cross multiplication helps you solve for x easier. It doesn't matter, by the way, if you do 3 stars over 1 heart, as long as you keep it the same again, x stars over 2 hearts. You want stars to hearts, or heart to stars, okay? So for ratios or proportions with an equal here, you want them to be the same. For the fraction multiplying part, you want the unit that you start with to kind of cancel out with the denominator, and the one that you are converting to be on the numerator. Okay, I hope that helps a little bit at least. Now another little thing to note is it's good to do a gut check once you've solved your question. It's good to see if your answer makes sense, right? So if I have the same ratio, let's just say 1 heart equals 3 stars. If I were to ask you, what about 5 stars? How many hearts are in 5 stars, or convert this into hearts? Well, let's say you do the math and you calculate this and somehow you get 15 hearts. Do a little gut check, right? Because here, if we have 1 heart equals 3 stars and you have 15 hearts, that's 3 times 15, which is 45 stars, which is way too many. So in this way, if 3 stars is 1 heart, then we have 5 stars, so we don't even quite have 2 hearts worth, right? Like we said in this example, we can use fractions, but this should be something less than 2, because 2 hearts is already 6 stars and we only have 5 stars, so it should definitely be something less than 2, and in that case it'll just be 5 over 3, which is 1 and 2/3. questions, let me know. Of course, there are other types of, like, this is this type of conversion, but if you want to convert from Celsius to Fahrenheit, for instance, you have like specific formulas, and that would just be like a pre-algebra exercise to plug in a given value and solve for the other one. But for this type of conversion, this is what we're talking about. And so, like I said, you can convert between the metric and standard systems, but you can also convert within them. So sometimes you'll want to do like an interim step. So like if you're converting from centimeters to kilometers, for instance, you might want to use that original fraction way, because like we said, we're just multiplying by 1, so you can take however many steps you need. But you might want to go from centimeters to meters, because a centimeter is 1/100th of a meter, and then go from meters to kilometers, which is a kilometer is 1,000 meters. So you might want to do that base step, and that's what's nice about the metric system.